Welcome back to another installment of Lightspeed Rambles, where I ramble on about an episode and share my thoughts, theories, etc. So, Chapter 13, The Jedi, by far my most favorite, if not my favorite episode of The Mandalorian Season 2. If you didn't know, I'm a huge Ahsoka Tano fan, and was very excited to hear that she would be appearing in The Mandalorian's second season. And given that this is the only episode that Dave Filoni had directed, it made sense that Ahsoka would be in it, as well as Easter eggs to other works by Mr. Filoni himself, which we will get into later on in the video. For now, let's start at the beginning. So right from the start, we see Ahsoka, and this caught me by surprise because I thought she would make an appearance at the middle or the end of the episode, but oh my god, can we take the time to appreciate the detail of her sabers, costume, and appearance. I was skeptical at first on how she would look, as I had gotten used to the animated version, but Rosario Dawson plays her flawlessly in my opinion, and actually the headband that she wears made me think of her headband when she was with the Trace and Rafa arc. But yeah, seeing the Rebel sabers made me go crazy, which you could find my reaction to down below or somewhere on my channel. But yeah, the lightsaber effects were super cool, and it was very surprising to see her right off the bat. So the episode puts us right into the action with these new species or something, or whatever they're called, and new characters. Not gonna lie, these guys look pretty cool, and not to mention their blasters are pretty cool as well. The whole thing was like a horror movie with Ahsoka hiding in the shadows and hiding behind the trees, taking down soldiers one by one. I thought that was funny. It's another episode that's kind of like a horror movie. The first one we saw was in season 1. Where they're in the ship, the one with Matt Lanter, and then Dave Filoni was in there, and that was pretty funny. Speaking of which, Dave Filoni was in there and Matt Lanter, and now we have Ahsoka here, so I don't know, maybe a connection, who knows. But yeah, it was pretty funny to see, kind of scary too. And then we cut to Mando and the child inside the Razor Crest, and of course the child is eyeing the ball of the shift knob and uses the Force to untwist it. But this whole scene was a nice touch to see the relationship between Mando and the child, with Mando saying, get back in your seat. And, we already talked about this. It just shows how far their relationship has come and how it evolved more into a father-son type relationship. This whole scene was pretty cool. So a cool thing they had is this scene right here, which is obviously a reference to the scene on Yavin 4, which obviously made me very excited as a Star Wars fan who's, familiar with the older movies and whatnot. I don't know, it was super cool to see this because it is a pretty iconic scene, so I liked it very much how they did this. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see. So I really like how the Majesty's little place, like the garden and pond type thing inside, I liked how it looked. It was very appealing. It was a contrast of what was outside the inner walls, the outside being very beat up and filled with poor people in a sense, and the inside is just this rich person with this beautiful pond and beautiful structure. It reminded me of like a Japanese-esque type garden with the pond and bonsai looking trees, and even the building itself looked kind of close to like Japanese architecture, but I don't know, that's just me. So this one's a little bit of a stretch, but the girl kind of reminded me of Marin from Jedi Fallen Order with the color of her hair and clothes. But again, that's just my mind going all over the place. I also thought it was really cool seeing the droid in the back and a Beskar spear. I've never seen that thing, so that was pretty sick. But yeah, Mando saying he carries the child for luck was funny, because if in Star Wars movies and shows, they mention how there's no such thing as luck, etc, etc. So this is pretty funny. And what was it? Anakin even told Ahsoka that, good thing I taught you otherwise, when she's like, I thought there's no such thing as luck. I believe it's in season 7 of the Clone Wars. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and a nice connection and reference they made to other Star Wars pieces of work. So then we see Mando and the child walking through the desolate forest type thing, and right on the branch is Morai, the owl that follows Ahsoka around, which you can see at the end of season 7 in the Clone Wars and in Rebels. Morai is connected to the daughter, which you can see in episodes 15 through 17 of season 3 of the Clone Wars, which I highly recommend watching if you want to get more into it, and the backstory of the daughter and Ahsoka's connection. But yeah, Morai was on the branch, and that was pretty cool. So then we get to see Mando blocking Ahsoka's lightsabers with his Beskar. Obviously, the Mandalorians were at war with the Jedi and had to make weapons, armor, and restraining systems, which we get to see Maul in Season 7. That worked against the Jedi, and in this scene, we're able to see a good example of Beskar doing their job, deflecting the lightsabers. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see that, finally on screen. Okay, so Ahsoka recognizes the child species, and this whole scene was very visually appealing. The whole episode was very visually appealing. The effects are very good, especially with the lightsabers as well as the scenery. So yeah, Ahsoka and the child are connecting, I'm guessing through the Force, which is when she tells Mando that she can understand him and tells him that his name is Grogu, which is very surprising. I honestly thought they were going to keep the child's name a mystery, but I guess this is cool too. Ahsoka mentions the Jedi Temple in Coruscant and the Clone Wars. Then Ahsoka mentions Master Yoda and tells Mando that Master Yoda and the child are of the same species. Ahsoka asks if the child could still wield the Force. Mando is like, you mean his powers, blah blah blah. Pretty funny. Mando says his task was to bring the child to a Jedi, which is also funny because the Majesty also called Ahsoka a Jedi. But as we all know, at this point, her famous quote, "I am no Jedi" from Star Wars Rebels, she's not a Jedi anymore. And Ahsoka mentions how the Jedi had fallen, and Mando says that the child needs her help, in which she finally says she'll test him in the morning. So Ahsoka using the Force to play catch with Grogu was funny because I honestly thought she was gonna throw like a rock at him, but this scene was also very powerful because it shows the connection and attachment Grogu has with Mando, as you could tell by, him taking out the shift knob and the child just automatically yoinking it with the Force. But yeah, Ahsoka says she can't train Grogu and mentions how his attachment makes him vulnerable to his fears and anger, which we obviously know from the whole fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, which is about Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka's master. She tells Mando about her experience with seeing what attachment can do to a, quote, fully trained Jedi Knight, obviously talking about Anakin Skywalker, and how she doesn't want to start the child down that path. So a funny thing that happens when Mando and Ahsoka go back to the village, or prepare to go back to the village, is Mando calls Ahsoka's lightsabers laser swords, which is funny, and Ahsoka reveals the identity of the girl who was in charge of the village, the Majesty, named Morgan Elspa, and reveals her backstory during the Clone Wars and how she let her anger take control of her, so that's why she's going around taking over villages and whatnot. So Mando and Ahsoka infiltrate the village, and seeing more lightsaber action made me fanboy like crazy. It's been a while since we've seen, lightsabers in action. Inside the village, we could see a Loth Cat, which is connection to Star Wars Rebels. Mando and this guy have a standoff like in Midwestern movies while Ahsoka and Morgan duel it out. I think the Ahsoka versus Morgan duel is a reference to Maul, because Morgan has a staff, and that staff is kind of similar to Maul having a double-bladed lightsaber. In fact, Ahsoka loses her main hilt like she did against Maul, and only has her Shoto left, in which she puts it in her iconic reverse grip, and then finally disarms Morgan, asking for, get ready for this, Admiral Thrawn, another connection to Star Wars Rebels. Mando wins his duel against this random dude, I don't know his name, and finally the village is free. It's been a while. I've been waiting for Mando to have like a gunslinging type duel, and we finally got it. So yeah, Mando believes he's gonna leave Grogu with Ahsoka and goes back to his ship to say goodbye, but as you could tell, there's a lot of cutscenes where he's just, holding Grogu or just poking at him, and it just shows their connection with each other. It kind of showed how hard it was for Mando to say goodbye, but it turns out Ahsoka tells Mando to take Grogu to a Jedi temple, and then they just take off. But yeah, overall, Chapter 13 was a really good episode. I love all the connections to Clone Wars, Rebels, all the other movies and whatnot, Star Wars lore and all that stuff. We got to see Morai, a Loth Cat, Mando finally had a gunslinging type duel, lightsabers, finally, after quite some time. Ahsoka was really good. I liked her outfits and her sabers. I think Rosario Dawson did an amazing job. the little things, like the things about luck, Anakin, no attachments, the whole fear and anger thing, references to that iconic Yavin scene, Morai, etc. I loved all those. It made me nerd out a lot. The Ahsoka theme was playing a lot in a lot of the scenes, and just made me even more excited about the next episode, and the episode itself. But yeah, sorry this video was a bit lengthy and not a complete and accurate breakdown, hence the name Lightspeed Rambles. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing Ahsoka Tano, and I'm excited to see what is to come, especially now that we have the knowledge that Thrawn might be making an appearance either in the end of this season or season 3, which is confirmed. So let me know what you guys think. What did you guys think of the episode down below in the comments? Did you like it? Did I miss anything? All that stuff. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. May the Force be with you.